Okay, hello. My name is Hannele Mäkelä, coming from Tampere University, Finland, and I also like to express my warm gratitude for the invitation for the Delta Management School and for this wonderful event. My talk will deal with this question of what is material sustainability information. In other words, what is the most relevant information that we need for sustainability governance? As a very short background introduction, I won't be talking too much of this because you have just heard an excellent presentation for the background of my presentation. But basically, the consequences of climate change and human-caused climate change have made it obvious that more action is needed to prevent the global temperature rise. The World Economic Forum, so basically the businesses have identified the extreme weather events as the most significant risk for business for our time, both in short term and in long term. And many of the companies have made these commitments that they will reduce their emissions and operate in line with the Paris Agreement, meaning that they will operate in line with the 1.5 degrees target, which is scientifically based. But the key is that we need information. So we need more reliable sustainability information for this convincing sustainability transition and for it to be convincing and meaningful. For instance, in the European Union, we have the Green Strategy, so the Green Deal, meaning that Europe wants to be net zero by 2050. Also, there are a lot of initiatives for allocating capital, private capital for green investments. And along with this development, we have several new laws. One of the most important ones being the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Initiative, which I will refer to as a CSRD. And along with that, we now are developing, and the first versions are already basically in use, the new European Sustainability Reporting Standards, so our own set of sustainability indicators. And together with the CSRD, there are several other directives and legislative initiatives now in place. But basically, the core idea is that the voluntary corporate sustainability reporting is not enough, but we need more reliable and comparable sustainability information, which is why we now have this ESRS framework for sustainability reporting that companies are about to start using. And there are several new additions and big changes compared to what many of the big companies are already been doing. We already know, of course, that the big companies have been already reporting and they are really good at that. But to create a bigger kind of systemic change, we need more data. So the big changes compared to the previous ones are that the companies are also now responsible not only for reporting on their direct impact, but throughout the whole supply chain. And also there is this big emphasis on the reliability of the information, so there is compulsory assurance for sustainability reporting. And the core reporting principle behind the new European Sustainability Reporting Directive and other global sustainability reporting frameworks as well is this idea of materiality. And the European standard, it really focuses on double materiality. This is the key concept at the moment. So, when defining what is material sustainability information, meaning the most important sustainability information, we need to consider these two aspects of materiality. So we consider the financial materiality which basically means that how companies deal with the risks and opportunities that face their business operations from sustainability. And the other side of the story is the impact materiality, which basically means that we report on the corporate impact on society, so corporate environmental impacts, social impact, and broader economic impacts. So this is the kind of inside out and outside in perspectives together. So when thinking about what is material sustainability information, we only report on the most important ones, and this is defined through the materiality assessment process. And we need to consider both the financial materiality and the impact materiality, both separately and together. Yes, so lots of things are happening. We have these new impressive looking frameworks under development. And this is actually the first year that the big companies are reporting according to this new directive. And when using the European Sustainability Reporting Standards, the ESRS, it focuses on the general reporting principles, materiality being one of them, and then on these selected data points for sustainability. So the kind of data collection have been anchored to certain selected data points, and then we have indicators for all these. And it is categorized under obviously the ESG, so environment, social, and governance. And yes, this is impressive, and the idea, of course, is that it will increase the comparability of reporting between different companies and throughout years. But then I'm a bit concerned on the fact that with our focus on these detailed kind of mechanic data points, are we somehow kind of not seeing the wood from the trees, in a sense that we focus on the details and we don't have enough focus on the complexity of sustainability, because obviously sustainability is such a complex issue, and these detailed data points, they all contribute to sustainability together. So not only we need to look at the details, but we also, and perhaps even more importantly, need to understand the complexity and the interaction between these different data points, these different sustainability aspects. Another development for reporting is there is a lot of need for reporting on in a digital format. And this is also within the new directive, obviously contributing to the better access for data, better usability for data, and timeliness for data. And this is also again linked to the collecting data throughout the supply chain. But then again, my concern is in terms of the reliability of the data, that yes, we have this nice kind of neat and clean ways of reporting, but we also know that the data collection throughout the supply chain, for instance, is really on a very early stage. So basically there is a lack of technology, so information systems that would actually support the data collection throughout the supply chain. And also we need lots and lots of expertise, development of expertise. So education is needed for us to understand how to identify the different sustainability aspects throughout the supply chain. And only when we have the kind of the base level under control, we have a good understanding of what are the impacts, how they work together, what kind of information can we actually get out of them. Then these reporting frameworks and digital tagging and all that, then it becomes important. But if we only focus on the technical details at this level, when the reliability of data is in a very early stage of development, then there's the risk of not focusing on the meaningful aspects of data collection. And again, elaborating on this idea of what is material sustainability information, and especially with this idea that I just mentioned, that more focus should be on the getting meaningful data. So data that actually matters and reliable data that could be useful for sustainability transformation. We need to focus on these key aspects of data quality. Also to understand the usability of the data that we have. So first of all, in terms of boundary setting, as we already know, the new directive focuses on data collection throughout supply chain. But this is something that we are still learning. And we really need to, whenever we start reporting, we need to be clear and transparent in terms of what are the reporting boundaries. We know that companies are nowadays reporting mostly on their direct impacts, but now that we move on to the indirect impacts throughout the supply chain, we need more information on how to define the reporting boundaries and how to be clear about this. Also in terms of time frame, this is a very important aspect, of course, of the quality of information. How do we ensure that we have enough data on the past, present, and future impacts? And again, we need to be transparent on what is the time frame of the measurement. For instance, for carbon impacts or carbon emissions, we know that the carbon emissions from the past are still up there in the atmosphere, and this has to be accounted for as well. So again, this is a question of whether we account for the past impacts or reducing the future impacts. And again, we need to be transparent on what is it that we are actually reporting for. Then in terms of commensuration, we know that sustainability impacts are huge. I mean, the variety and the amount of different kinds of impacts is huge. But then in the report, we put it all together. So how do we actually value and compare these very different impacts? Yes, we have the indicators, but again, we have to make the decisions on how to value these things. Is it through material flows? Is it through narrative account? Is it through monetary valuation? And to what extent do we need these different ways of accounting? And again, we need to be sure that we have found the right value. For instance, what is the right price for carbon and so on. And the aspects of commensuration, so measuring different things on similar measures, we need to be careful when doing this. And then on the stakeholder engagement, this is again one of the key reporting principles for the European sustainability reporting frameworks. So it is not only the company itself who is responsible for the report, sustainability report, but the key stakeholders have to be engaged with the process. How to do this? Again, based on research, we know that companies are not yet really transparent on how stakeholders have been engaged with the process. And obviously, whenever we have more people involved, more aspects involved in the process, it also means that we have more and different and very, very different from each other, different interests put together and different priorities. And how do we then, and through what kind of process do we then decide what is the most material impact if we have different opinions on this? So again, this is another aspect that we are still learning to do. Because, different people have different understandings of what is material. So overall, to sum up what I've been saying, I would say that overall we have this nice, ambitious legislative initiative. We have a clear need for more sustainability information, for more reliable sustainability information. We have nice frameworks for reporting and all that, but only time will tell. How do we actually learn to deal with these quality aspects that are undoubtedly challenging? So it will be interesting next few years to follow the development on whether we will achieve meaningful sustainability information. Thank you.